Hello again, Broncos country. We are back. Broncos football is back, which means the original halftime show, live all Broncos halftime show, is back. Halftime Hash. I'm here with Ray as we're watching the first half of this preseason game against the Cowboys. Ray, how you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Man, it's been so long, it's only time for one thing. It's good to see you all. Welcome back. It is Broncos season. Can't get any better. Can't be more excited, Jared. It's preseason, but who the hell cares? We get to talk Broncos today, man.
We do. We're watching a game. We're watching some of these guys who are probably on that cut list, these 2s and 3s. Yep. We're not playing. Russ is suited up, but he's not playing this game. I think it's because we only have Josh Johnson and him on the roster right now. So if Josh Johnson goes down, there he has to go in.
We're in trouble. Yep.
But you guys got like Garrett Bowles isn't dressed out. There's a lot of guys. Our number ones are just not dressed out. So there's a lot of things going on right now. Let's kick it off right off the bat. Let's talk about our 2 touchdowns. We're up 14-0 on the Cowboys. About that? We're Hinton fans. We're Kendall Hinton stands here at Orange Weekly. We love us some Kendall Hinton. What about that catch?
Yeah. Oh man, Kendall Hinton making the plays. Man, listen, I'm here. Preseason, you can't get a lot out of preseason, but there's a couple things that you want to keep track of. And if we're looking at the first half, the most important stat to me, Jared, you mentioned the 2 touchdowns. The most important stat to me, Josh Johnson is upright, no sacks in the first half, because I think that offensive line is where I have a couple of big questions on that offensive side of the ball. It's great to see some of those tackles, those guards that we're trying to get figured out here as we try to solidify our starting 5 on the front line. Who's going to play? What's going to be the case with Billy Turner and all the guys that are on the PUP list? But the best news so far today, Josh Johnson is upright through all 16 or 17 pass attempts so far. And, of course, 2 touchdowns to our boy Hinton, baby. I love that. Hinton catch is good, man. He'll be on this roster, I think, unfortunately, with the Tim Patrick injury happening. I think Hinton's got a roster spot, no doubt. But, Jared, what are your takeaways on that first few series there?
You know what? I love the fact, like I said, like you said, Josh Johnson being upright is huge. He's taken a couple shots, and there's been a couple – you can tell it's preseason. There's been a couple miscommunications.
Yep.
There was a play that we saw Wash. He had a huge punt return. I think he got like a 30-yard punt return, and then they tried to give it to him on a sweep coming the other way. Somebody completely missed somebody on the other side. Or they saw it coming, whatever it was, but he got blown up. So there's obviously some preseason jitters going on with some of these guys, but I think Washington, our rookies, playing very well in the kick return, punt return section. Stuff that we're kind of super excited about. And then, like I said, and here's another thing. Josh Johnson, when we're going in this, we're like, we don't have a lot of depth at quarterback, right?
Totally.
That's it. It's basically Russ and Josh, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him this preseason. I'm liking the throws he's making. He had one where they dropped 9.
Right.
8. I mean, they may have dropped 8. It may have been 8 or 9, but they dropped 8. And he still found the wide open zone right in the middle to one of the tight ends. We had a 2 tight end set. They dropped 8. It's so difficult to find a zone when you're running 2 tight ends. They drop 8. But he found it right in the middle to a wide open guy and has just fired it in there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I like his play. I like his mobility. And I like the way that Nathaniel Hackett is calling the plays.
Yeah, and, the big thing about the Locke-Bridgewater situation is that they're 2 completely different quarterbacks, right? You couldn't quite, if somebody got hurt, you had to prescribe the offense, not to mention the whole, back and forth. The nice thing with the Josh Johnson the signing is veteran quarterback, same skill set as Russell Wilson. You can run the same offense, you can do your things, and then you can rock and roll, man. That's why he's here, and I think we're showing some of those skills there. And I think, how many years has that guy been in the league? 10? Josh Johnson, he's an old dude. I mean, so the veteran presence, he's not going to, step on anybody's toes. He's not here to try to win a job. He knows he's got a job to do, and that's literally to help support the defense as they get through practices and just be available in worst case scenario, just in case of emergency, break glass. We got to win 2 games. That's what Josh Johnson is here for. That's really it. So,
yeah. And like I said, we've been really worried about the depth there. Having Josh Johnson, a guy who's been around the league, is he going to be able to step in if something happens? And what I'm seeing right now, I'm pretty confident we don't have to change up much in the playbook just to have our backup step in. So that's real good news for me. Jerry let us know it looks like the kicker made it. Looks like we kicked a field goal at 17-0 at half.
Yeah, it looks like there was a penalty that McManus missed a 57-yard field goal, but there was a defensive offsides on the play. He gets to reload from 52 yards, and of course, he's good at Mile High from 52 yards and in. We're up 17-0 at halftime.
Crushed it. All right, Drake, let's start going through his comments. Guys, post your comments. We're here to talk to you about what you're thinking. We want to hear – we could talk all day about what we think, but we want to hear what you guys are thinking. Montreal Washington looking good as a returner so far. Already electric.
Totally.
On the one punt return that was real big, I think it was a 30-yard punt return. He took 2 to 3 steps to the inside, got everyone going one way, came back the other way, got 25 yards. Stuff that we were last in the league in kickoff and punt returns and kickoff and punt defense in general. Our special teams was last in the league last year, so it's really cool to see that. I agree, Drake.
Yeah, I mean, minus Vic Fangio, I can't even think of the special teams coach was. He was probably the worst coach on the entire Broncos staff the last couple of years. Like, tell me what's his name. What's his name, Jared? Who am I missing?
I don't want to say it.
Gosh, I can't think of it. Anywho, but listen, here's the deal. Here is what George Paton has been able to do for the Broncos is they've started to round out the back end of the roster. And the big difference when you see the back end of the roster, you know, where you start to feel it is in special teams. And I think we finally got some depth in some positions. And I think that back end of the roster, right, we finally know the guys' names who are 40 through 52 on the depth chart. That means that we got a pretty special. Tom McMahon, thank you, Keith, on that. Keith, thank you so much, man. It was like Voldemort, man. I forgot about it so more.
I didn't want to say it.
But, you know, so McMahon was probably the worst coach on the staff minus Vic. But, you know, like I'm saying, though, we finally have started to round out the back end of the roster. I think there's a few holes. We talked about the offensive line. I'd like to get to the inside linebacker and maybe a little bit of cornerback play here on the defensive side in a second. But as you start to round out the back end of the roster, that's when we start to get a little bit more excited about special teams. And I think you're totally right on. Williams seems like a special player. I think he was going to make the roster no matter what. But again, Tim Patrick with the injury and some of those other things that we have going on, I think we got some great things. Washington here. So,
yep, absolutely. Drake, thanks for the comment. Victor, what's going on, man? Christopher, let's go.
Cheers.
Let's see. Keith, pretty good for second string, better than last year. I agree. I think we have some depth there.
Yep.
And I don't envy, and obviously it's only the first half of the first of 4 preseason games, but I don't envy when they start having to cut because they're going to have some real difficult decisions, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of our guys that are cut being picked up by other teams.
Yeah. Totally.
Sergio's trying to get me to go off of on a tangent / put me on a pedestal because I've been saying this for 4 or 5 years now. Middle linebacker is going to be a must. I agree. I think that inside linebacker position is much more valuable than what people are valuing it at. And David can kick me if he wants, but inside linebacker is super important. And we did not go out and do anything about it this offseason. I think we have four players at the inside linebacker position on our depth chart total. We have 7 total tight ends. I don't understand where the disconnect is. Anyways, I agree, Sergio, 100%.
Yeah, Sternad making a few plays, Singletary in there, you know, just trying to figure out how that room is going to line up here. I'm not quite exactly sure as well. I'd love to see a marquee top 10 type of linebacker here. I don't think we have a top 25 linebacker on our team right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. That I'm telling you that inside linebacker position is going to be super critical. For the record, Alexander Johnson's still a free agent, and I know we didn't bring him back because of his age and what he was asking for his contract. But if we can get him cheap before the season starts, to come back a hometown discount, maybe he'll take it.
Man, Jared, put Jerry's comment up there because we're still trying to figure. The chat is trying to figure out what the hell is on your head. Is that a sombrero? Is that a cowboy hat? Is that what the heck is on your head? Jerry wants to know where your visor is, man.
I got that here too.
Okay. Thank God. Okay, we're good, Jerry. We are good. Jerry still has his visor. We are good.
I'll just throw this back here and we'll be good. All right, we're back in the visor world. Here we go. All right. Let's see, Chris. We talked about Josh Johnson a little bit. Yeah, he's looking younger and younger every year somehow, even though he keeps getting older. Victor, 50th year's Bronco fan, excited for the team. I am too.
Could not wait.
And Jonas Griffith, I don't know. I didn't hear any news on him.
I'm looking right now to see if there's any updates.
Yeah. Kevin at the game has enough service to jump in and say that Ray's a sexy beast, I assume. And hi, Jared. Yep, that's tracks. Let's see. Scary to see, but so far for linebacker looks great so far. Let's see. I got my visor on. Browning looking good. So I'll say this about Browning. There was a couple plays, and I'm watching him specifically because he's one guy that I really hope becomes a great player this year. There's been a couple times in the pass rush, he's killing it. When you ask him to go out into coverage, he's misreading some things. And there was one I think it was a linebacker leak or a running back leak out to the left. He got so wide open. He had like 2 to 3 steps on Browning because he made an inside stab. I'd like to see a little bit more maturity from Browning in the pass coverage, but on the pressure and on the rushes, he's looking great. He had a big bat down on like a 3rd and a short, which was nice, but.
Yeah, the edge rush game and sort of the external presence that we have on the defensive side is sort of what to me is the boomer bust part of the defense this year, right? I think the ceiling can be incredibly high, but the floor is also incredibly low. 1 or 2 injuries in that room, and we're totally. I think if we're breaking down the defensive side of the ball, our secondary I think is probably our most locked up. When you think about that side of it, I feel the best about the secondary. Although I think the 4th cornerback depth, I think has some question marks there. As we broke down the inside linebacker position, who the hell knows why the Broncos have no interest in getting anybody in that position, especially since you think about the old Broncos, right? Think about what it was like with Romanowski and Williams and all the guys that we've seen in the middle over the years. It's been weird that we have had nobody there for the last 5 years. And then edge rush presence, a bunch of guys that have the ability to pop. Of course, we got a couple guys injury, Chubb, all that stuff. It could be an incredible year, but it could be a really bad year. I just don't know where that's going to fall. Boomer bust for sure on the defensive edge side.
Yeah, let's see. Eddie with looks like it's just an elbow injury to Griffith, so he should be good.
Good, thanks, Eddie.
It's going to be a long term regardless. Appreciate it, Eddie. Yep, elbow injury, Sergio. Appreciate it. And yeah, so let's talk about the offense a little bit. We talked a little bit about the defense. Our offense looks new, and it looks like something that could work when we have the athletes in the position. So, kind of a limited look at what we have, right? Where I don't think we're opening up the playbook in the preseason. No. We're not really showing what we can and can't do. But I already like the little bit more of a high op tempo, the opening up downfield, Josh Johnson taking shots. I think, obviously the big touchdown to Kendall Hinton was a big shot down the sideline.
Sure.
And, that's the stuff I like to see, stuff that we haven't seen in a couple years, and I'm super excited for.
I mean, Russell Wilson is arguably the best long ball thrower in the entire NFL, right? We know how wonderful the zone scheme run game can be here in Denver. Of course, as we see the Shanahan tree sort of continue to shake out, have its fingerprints all over the NFL right now. So, I mean, I think there's a tremendous amount of possibility. I tell you what, though, I think the Broncos are going to average 21 points a game this year. I think they're going to be in the 26, 27 points a game this year. They're going to have to be to even be competitive in the AFC West. But with one of the best long ball throwers in the league, possibly, arguably the best running back room in the league. Yes. I think we're going to see that zone read scheme, plus taking that shots, using the run to set up that long ball. I think is going to be a really explosive, high octane offense this year. If it gets clicking, man, I think it could be a really interesting year without a doubt.
Absolutely, and you're talking this game. We're not seeing any of our starters.
Right.
Neither one of our running backs, none of our starting wide receivers. I don't even think KJ Hamler's got any time out there.
Right.
I think he's still nursing off his injury, but I think he's been full. Actually, I think he's on the pup. Is he still on the pup list?
I think he's back because he can practice, but he's super limited because of the way the pup list works out. He's able to do walkthroughs, but not really practice. I'm not exactly sure what the situation is there. So
not super surprised gone. Hey, welcome from Australia. Appreciate it. Love the work. How much time do the Stars get in preseason? So we just kind of talked about that a little bit. Today, they're not going to get any. I don't think you might see a few guys that are going to be starters, specifically on defense, as they're trying to figure out depth chart and who's going to be starting where. On offensive line, there's a couple guys bouncing back and forth to try to win over the starting job. But as far as our known starters, you're not going to see any of them.
Nobody was out there today. Yep.
Not today, but I agree. I hope everyone gets through healthy. Right now, we're only looking at the one slight injury to the elbow, so that's good. Let's hope we finish off nice and strong. Let's see. All right, we're going to start going through some of your guys' comments real quick here. Boone, he's going to drop in the depth chart. I mean, he's already 3. He's already 3 on the depth chart. He's probably we kind of got him as a special teams player last year anyway. He's not an electric running back compared to the 2 that we have, and I think we're kind of spoiled.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And nothing surprising in the first half. If you find your way as a rotational player, if you want to be 3rd depth chart running back in this league, you got to be a hell of a special teams player. So as long as he continues to make plays there, I think he'll stay on the roster. But yeah, that 3rd running back spot is really a special team spot at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Okay. Someone says Team Puffball. I'm going to ignore that, Chris. I want to see Albert O get a touchdown.
Albert O.
Man, he missed a huge block. Man, he missed a huge block to get Josh Johnson hit pretty hard towards the end. Luckily, Josh Johnson got the ball out of there, but he missed and he knew it as he's standing over Josh Johnson's lifeless body. But he's got to step up a little bit on the blocks.
Yeah. Do we miss Noah Fant? I mean, it's an interesting question here. I think Albert O, fills in some of those gaps. He's super talented. Do we have enough of the run block system there? It'll be interesting to see what we do about that tight end space. And can they fill the void of Tim Patrick? I mean, that's a really interesting question. Does the tight end become our third option after Sutton and Judy? It's an interesting deal there. I'm really curious about.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I haven't seen the rookie too much. I mean, maybe I haven't been paying close enough attention.
Hamstring, I think, has kept him out for a large part of camp. So.
Okay, so Dulcich, he's another one too, right? We picked him up pretty early in the draft to be the top tight end. He was one of the top tight ends in the draft, depending on who you ask. All right, we're gonna hit these second and third string O line looking solid. Stoked to see the first string O line.
Totally, Eddie. Yep. Would you see that report that ESPN put out like a week ago? If you have, go look it up. That they're predicting the Broncos with the fifth best offensive line based on their projected starters this year. It's really interesting read. I don't see that, Eddie, but I am pleased to see that we do have a little bit of depth there. We got to get a good O-line in front of their Wilson, and I want to see him upright. As long as we're top half in the league, I think we're going to be in good shape. I thought top 5 in the league seemed a little bit generous.
Yeah, and I think Russell Wilson's quick throw ability compared to the quarterbacks we've had in past will help them out a lot as well. But, yeah, we'll see how they work together. Can't wait to see Wilson play. Yeah, no, definitely.
Could not agree more, Jerry.
I mean, I don't know when we're going to see him play in the playoffs. I don't know if we're going to see him next week or maybe week 3 of the preseason. We might not see him at all. We already know he's our starter, but he's probably got to get some cobwebs out a little bit with the playbook. Yeah. And then Drayton, appreciate it. Seth Williams, we talked about it. His special teams play. He's catching balls. He's getting raw. I mean, he got destroyed on that. I can't imagine how he feels right now as he got destroyed on that crosser after that big punt return. And he popped right back up and was ready to go back out there and went to go catch another ball on the next play. I think they are trying to focus on getting him the ball. I think they want to showcase what he can do, or at least give him the chance to showcase what he can do. But yeah, I think he really, really set up.
Yeah, Williams and Washington's two good guys that we got to watch here as we round out the 5th and 6th wide receiver spot. So sounds like kickoff is going. Jared, what you got for the Orange Weekly? Let the people know what's happening this year.
Yeah, so lots of things happening this year. So obviously we're sticking with our normal. We got our Monday night, late night Broncos After Dark. We have Tuesdays, our flagship Bourbon Broncos No BS. We obviously check out our podcast, Orange Weekly Podcast, on all your podcast listening devices. We have pregame, postgame. We have on Sundays, we are doing our pregame shows here live on Facebook, YouTube, all the things. We're doing Halftime Hash, which you're watching right now. And then we obviously have Ragers.
Yeah, we'll be back in action.
Ragers for the year, big dog. How are we looking at Ragers for this year?
Ragers will be back again this year. We're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to broadcast it on YouTube, podcast. Who knows? We're going to figure that out. And I think, Jared, we're also going to live stream and play-by-play like a handful of games this year, do our reactions live to games. So I guess maybe not play-by-play. I'm pretty sure I'll get in trouble for doing something like that. But we will be reacting live with you all to games as the years go on. Ragers will be a part of it. The Orange Weekly is back better than ever. Y'all know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe button. I think I'm pointing in the right direction. Is it down here? Over here, it's the Halftime Hash.
Platform here, it's one.
And we've been doing this for like 7 years, and we still don't know where the damn button is. So just don't expect to know where the button is. But we know, you know what? We bring the Broncos every single week. We love you guys. We love the Broncos. And let's ride. Did I do it? How did I do it? Broncos country. Let's ride. Pretty good?
It was all right. But as always, we end off on a very strong
Go Broncos.